Today's Lunch and Learn webinar topic at YodlePop is nonprofit content marketing for the new SEO. I want to thank you for taking the time to join in today, and let's dive in. By way of introduction, I'm Jackie Lally. I am partner along with Camille Weiner at YodlePop, a sustainable digital marketing agency. We serve primarily nonprofits. I am a former communications director at a national nonprofit, and fun fact, I play an instrument larger than I am. I'll get back to that at the end of the presentation to provide the answer to that mysterious question. So today, our intention at this webinar today is to create a long-term content strategy for your organization. So when we end the webinar, you should have made progress toward that intention and also have some handy next steps to be able to carry that through to completion on your own, and also a way to get in touch with me and the YodlePop team to get help with that. So I'll start with a quick poll. Answer in the Q&A or in the chat panel which one of the following applies to you. You can type A, we're doing content marketing right now. B, we are not doing content marketing right now. C, I'm not sure. So just take a second to reflect on that and let us know where you and your nonprofit are in the content marketing journey. And it looks like we've got a range of different answers. People on the webinar right now who have experience with content marketing, people are just getting started. And today's presentation really should address your needs and concerns, whether you're just starting out or whether you have some experience and need a refresher. Whether you might have heard of topics like, or terms like topic clusters, and need more information about what that really means and whether it's even valuable for your nonprofit, and if so, how you can do it. So we've talked about our intentions and clarified our intention for this webinar today. As we go through the webinar, we'll be talking about content marketing and how it relates to your mission. We'll be covering how search has changed in recent years and how your nonprofit needs to address those changes. How to do better SEO, better search engine optimization for your nonprofit's content through topic clusters and pillar pages. We'll talk about next steps and how you can start diving in to do content marketing that really gets results for your nonprofit. And we'll be taking questions. So diving in now, what is content marketing? Well, content marketing creates a relationship with your audience that leads to trust. I think all nonprofits can relate to this, the importance of building trust with your audience, with your stakeholders. And you need to be finding every opportunity that you can to do that. And content marketing helps you achieve that goal with a relatively low cost outlay. So content marketing costs on average 63% less than what we call outbound marketing, what we often hear called outreach in the nonprofit world. So when you're focused on what your audience needs and how you can provide it with content on the web, you spend less money than when you're working on broadcasting a message outward using paid media, for example. Content marketing generates 3 times more contacts. It's a way to bring contacts into your contact database, individuals that care about your mission. And so when we talk about content marketing, a lot of times people can relate to the forms the content marketing takes more so than the term content marketing. So we see content marketing happening via blogs, ebooks, webinars, video, white papers, case studies, infographics. There are lots of different forms that you can use to put your content out there in ways that your audience is going to relate to and be attracted to. These are a few of the most common. Pillar pages are another important asset in content marketing that we're going to be talking about a lot today. So now that we have a little bit of a sense of what content marketing is and what it looks like in concrete terms, we need to look behind the scenes. Okay, so when you start content marketing, you need to have a content mission statement. A content mission statement is different from the mission statement for your organization, but they're related. So in order to create your content mission statement for your organization, here's a template that we provide that we often use to create a content mission statement. It goes like this. Our mission is to fill that in. I'm sure you have a mission statement, plug it right in there. But when it comes to our content strategy, it's not about doing that. It's about the idea that everyone should know how to fill in the blank. So the reason that it's important to have a content mission statement is that many nonprofits, and I've seen this repeated many, many times with organizations that we've worked with, have a pretty clear sense of what they're doing as an organization, right? Even if it's a pretty big, broad mission, they have a good sense of that. But when it comes time to make assignments within the team or come up with a way to really publish content, there's a sense of confusion about where that content should come from and why, why that content is being published. Okay, there's most nonprofit marketers and executives that I know have the sense that we need to be doing content marketing, we need to be publishing content, we need to have a blog. But why and what should that be about? What should that be doing as opposed to our mission statement? So we see a lot several years ago when it was all about frequency of publication. You know, there was a lot of publishing blogs kind of for the sake of publishing blogs. And those would be on topics, you know, a broad array of topics. The focus was on publish, publish, publish as much as you can. That was not really ever a sustainable way of doing content marketing. And now search, Google, is disincentivizing that. So it's really important that we've evolved beyond publishing for the sake of publishing and publish content that makes sense with our mission. This is the start of that. So once you have this down, share it across your organization, collaborate with your staff, your team broadly, to come up with a content mission statement that everybody can identify with. So I mentioned before that part of the reason that topic cluster approach, the approach we're going to be talking about today, is especially relevant for nonprofits right now, is that search has changed. So there have been more than 500 search algorithm changes to date. They're happening every day, and they change the way that our content is found online. Some of the big changes in search algorithms in Google's search algorithms are listed here, going back years, okay? And they keep rolling out. They're constant. But one big change that has happened over the past several years is that search is now about finding relevant material on big topics. And I'm going to play a video here from HubSpot that gives a little bit of background on that.
You know, it wasn't long ago that you typed some broken search term like this into Google. Now, of course, you simply ask, where should I go for dinner? That's because you assume search engines are smart enough to recognize intent. But does your SEO strategy reflect this changing search behavior? Meet the topic cluster model, an SEO strategy that focuses on topics as opposed to keywords to improve your site's architecture, make it easier for Google to discover related content, and ultimately boost your search engine visibility. Consider how the average website grows. You start with a homepage and a blog. You decide to target a keyword, you'll learn that there are more than 1,000 long-tail variations of that term, meaning you're stuck writing post after post to capture the search traffic. And in the end, your site becomes repetitive, bloated, and disorganized. In the topic cluster model, each grouping covers a single topic. You have one larger piece of content, we'll call this the pillar, that broadly outlines the topic, and a defined group of cluster content focused on specific long-tail keywords. The pillar links to each cluster page, while the cluster links back to the pillar, each time with the same hyperlinked keyword. That way, when one page performs well, the entire topic cluster gets a boost. It's all about helping web crawlers make connections. Topic clusters signal to Google that there's a semantic relationship between the content, and more importantly, that you're a trusted authority on the topic, worthy of a top spot.
Great. So that's a pretty good introduction to the topic of topic clusters and how SEO has changed over the past several years. I don't know about you, but I don't really ask Google where I should go for dinner, but we know that some people do. And the point is that people are using everyday inquiries, kind of the language of everyday inquiries to find information online now. And that's one of the ways that you can update your content to meet people where they are. So how to win at SEO now? It's about visibility across topics rather than individual keywords. It's about answering people's questions. It's about long, authoritative pages that focus on your content mission and internal links. All of these are really key components to publishing content that is going to be found by your ideal personas. So what we're going to talk about next is how to be found via SEO through topic clusters. And this will be a fairly technical part of the webinar today, just because what I find is that a lot of nonprofits have heard about topic clusters, but really just need to know how to do it, what it means, what it is. This strategy for organizing your content is really good for being found online now, but it's also really good just for bringing sanity to your marketing and communication strategy within your organization. So what we have here is an example of a topic cluster that we've mocked up. Okay, so a topic cluster has three key components. It has a head term. It has a core topic. In this case, our head term is dementia. Our core topic is dementia care. And then we have a number of subtopics surrounding the core topic. And next I'll be talking about what each of these is, and I'll be guiding you through an exercise if you want to do it right along with me to create the basis of a topic cluster for your organization. So here we have a head term, a topic cluster, a head term, a pillar page, and a number of blogs. This is one way to take the idea of a topic cluster and quickly move into action with it. So you'll be thinking of a head term. You'll be planning a pillar page to be at the center of that topic cluster. And you'll be planning a number of blogs to go around it that link in to the pillar page. So when you're creating a topic cluster, one really big important idea to remember is that all of these subtopics, pieces of content on the outside of the topic cluster, need to have inward links to one big piece of content. You can have links between blogs. You can have links from the pillar page out to a particular blog if it makes sense within the content. But the important thing for SEO is to make sure that each and every piece of content, smaller content, has an inward link to that big authoritative piece of content, the pillar page. So starting to plan a topic cluster now. Think of a head term. Your head term should have high monthly search volume. It's going to be general in that sense. It needs to support your programs and services. So if you are a nonprofit working in aging, senior care, Dementia is a topic that is going to be part of your mission and an important part of your mission. It's an issue that your key personas are facing every day as caregivers, for example. That's kind of the example that we're going to be carrying out here today. So it supports your programs and services. It's big, high monthly search volume, in this case, dementia. 674,000 searches per month. Last time we checked, these things change. Search volume tools that you can use to determine the search volume of a particular term include Keywords Everywhere, Google AdWords Keyword Planner. There's another slide I know that has more of these listed, but they include, let me just back up. Keywords Everywhere is now a paid tool. It's great because it integrates with Google, and you'll see the results when you do a search if you have the Keywords Everywhere plugin installed. It is a paid product though. The Google AdWords Keyword Planner is a tool that you get when you start a Google AdWords account. You may know that as a nonprofit, you're eligible for a free Google AdWords account for free advertising in search from Google. So the Google AdWords Keyword Planner is part of that tool that you get access to. HubSpot Keyword Planner is the one that we use the most at YodlePop, and it ties in with the HubSpot all-in-one inbound marketing software. So find the keyword research tool that works best for your organization and use it across the organization. The reason that it's important to use the same tool across the organization is that different keyword research tools work differently, and they're going to give you different numbers. So it's important, the most important thing is that as you're evaluating potential topics across your organization, you're comparing apples to apples so that you have a common understanding of what the search volume is for your different terms. So to recap, HubSpot's SEO tool, Google Ads Keyword Planner, Keywords Everywhere. And there are lots of options for free tools. You can just Google keyword research tools and find a lot of really good options. They change every day. And the Google Ads Keyword Planner is going to be free if you have that free nonprofit account that you're eligible for. So brainstorm some head terms that support your content mission. So right now, on a piece of paper or on your computer, just come up with 3 or 4 terms that support your content mission that are really big buckets of content. When you have a few options like that, it's time to look a little bit deeper and think about a head term. A core topic. The head term is the big topic we just talked about. Next is your core topic, which supports your head term. It's going to be 3 to 5 words in length. In the example that we're looking at right now, it's dementia care. So head term is dementia, core topic, dementia care. How do I care for someone with dementia? That one, last time I checked, got 6,600 searches per month. And thinking about how to rank for that core topic. So in a sense, the head term is important. The core topic is more important. Spend more time thinking about what your core topic is going to be, because that's going to be the topic of your pillar page. When you're looking at whether you should choose one core topic or another to build your topic cluster around, do some Google research, use autocomplete, see what happens when you start to type your term and what gets filled in. Related search suggestions. People also search for looking at the first page of the search engine result listings when you enter your proposed core topic. Synonyms, similar phrases, try them, see what the search volume is for those different variations. Most importantly, as we adapt to the new SEO, don't create more noise. So use the 10x rule. If you're finding that there's a lot of content out there on a core topic that you're considering for your pillar page, Think about whether you can create something that's 10 times better than what already exists. If not, move on, choose another topic. Don't add to the noise, don't add to the content that's already out there. However, before you discard a core topic as something that's already been done and that you're not going to be able to do 10 times better, you need to look at all of the ways in which a pillar page is going to perform well. It's not just the words on the page. Does it include images? Does it include embedded video? Does it provide the best experience possible for the user? Do you, as a nonprofit and as your particular organization, do you have stories that they don't have? How can you improve on what's already out there? And if based on the broad range of criteria for a good pillar page, you can do that, go for it. And I should mention, this is something that we do as a service for organizations. We do the SEO research, we do the comparison, we help determine if a topic is a good topic to pursue, and then obviously create the pillar page and the content. So look for chances to provide value. You might find a core topic that's great for your organization that's a little bit lower in search volume. Better to have, be on page 1 or page 2 for that core topic than to go for something with a really high search volume and really not have a chance at getting any traffic for that. Look at your existing content, mine that content for good material, core topics that are going to be easy for you to create a page and a series of blogs around. So brainstorm some core topics that support your content mission. You're going to have, by now, you should have a head term underneath that. Come up with several core topics that you can do some research on after the webinar and see what kind of search they get and what kind of competition you might face. So you're going to choose a core topic, and then you're going to move on and plan some subtopics. We'll get into the concretes of how these things are used a little bit later, and I'm going to move kind of quickly through this next part so that we can get to that hands-on part. Subtopics support your core topic, okay? Each one is a step toward that core topic. Each one answers a different question. So an example of a subtopic that's going to be part of the topic cluster around dementia care is activities for people with dementia. If you're an organization that has information on this, that has experience providing activities for people with dementia, this would be a good blog, video, or other piece of content to use to drive traffic into that topic cluster. Subtopics are on a range of specific subjects and questions that support and link to the core topic. So brainstorm some subtopics that support your content mission under that core topic that under one of the core topics that you've listed. So pick one of those core topics and jot down several ideas right now for specific questions that people would have underneath that core topic. So how do you apply your core terms and subtopics that you've been brainstorming to create content? This is another visual illustration to bring us back to the video of describing how a topic cluster is created. You've got your pillar content in the middle, and then they're calling it cluster content, but any piece of content that's built around a subtopic, linking inward to that. A pillar page is what's at the middle. And it's a website page that covers a core topic in depth and is linked to a cluster of related content. It has inward links to the pillar page. So what makes a pillar page? How's a pillar page different from just a web page or from a blog? Well, the content is one thing. The amount of content is one thing. It's going to be 2,000 plus words. It's going to have an internal submenu. So sometimes this is also called a microsite. You get to the page and that page has its very own menu. We'll take a look at some visuals showing a pillar page or two. It's going to have anchor titles, so you can navigate right there on the page to find the content, because it is going to be more than 2,000 words. We've produced, published pillar pages of 10,000 words. It's going to have share buttons so that users can easily share that content on social media, video embeds, graphics, inline CTAs. And then finally, the ability to download the page content as a PDF. So it's a big, big page that provides a ton of value to your visitors on a topic that they care about that's fairly broad. This is an example of a pillar page, Population Healthier, that was a collaboration between The Atlantic and Athena Health. It's very rich in features, interactive features. It has an article menu here on the side that's like its own, the page's own internal navigation in the public health field. Here's a quick screen grab of a pillar page for a foundation in medical research around rare disease treatment. So you can see video embed. You can see an example of an on-page menu, content menu. Share buttons, we saw the share buttons up there too. Here's another example in the association world, showing, how you can have your menu helping people navigate, to particular pieces of content right there. And it's a big topic, okay? You can see that, the ultimate guide to becoming a medical writer. So the pillar page, here's an example from within our sample content topic cluster that we're talking about. This pillar page is the Family Caregiver Guide to Caring for a Senior at Home. So other components to a topic cluster that I want to make sure to cover, okay? A landing page with a download. When we talked about the elements of a pillar page, the last one was the ability to download that content as a PDF. The purpose of a pillar page and a topic cluster when we talk about SEO is really to get traffic to your website, right? It's about attracting. Once people are there, you want to provide them with a way to give you their contact information and turn into a contact in your database that you can communicate with. You want leads, you want contacts who care about your issue. So this is how you do that with a pillar page. You create a landing page with a download. You also put the form, you can put the form right there on the pillar page to download this content. And this is kind of a secret that I want to let you in on, because as a nonprofit, you need to be putting your energy into the right places and not basically, not doing extra work, right? So you can take that same content that you've published on your pillar page, right here, this content, put it in a PDF download and make it available for download right there on the page, or on a call to action from that page to a landing page, to somehow use that same content to get your visitors' contact information. A lot of times people ask, why would you do that? Why would you, provide your email address to get a download for a page that you can get to for free? The answer is people do it. They want it. They want that content in that form. They want to be able to have it as a PDF anytime when they're offline. They might want to take it to an appointment with a doctor. In this case, if you're caring for someone with dementia, you might want that PDF with you. You might want to be able to forward it easily. People just do it, okay? So don't miss that opportunity to get leads from your pillar content. The blog, here's a visual representation of what the blog might look like. This is 5 everyday activities for people with dementia. That's going to be one of those subtopics that's around the outside of your pillar page, and it's going to contain links inward to your pillar page. Here's an example of another piece of content that can be around that in that circle of subtopics of video. And you can use a variety of mechanisms to drive people from that video into your pillar page. On YouTube, you can use cards, annotations, a variety of ways to put a link in there to the pillar page. And then how do we gauge the success of a topic cluster or pillar page? Okay, we have to be looking at the primary metric that's going to tell you whether your pillar page and your whole topic cluster as a group is doing what it needs to do is visits to the page. We have a lot of metrics that we look at in nonprofit marketing: conversion rate, new contacts, open rates of emails, click rates of emails. But the number that you want to be looking at to gauge whether your topic cluster is successful is sessions. Did people come to the website based on finding that content in search and get your content that way? Okay, so here we have numbers of sessions. And what numbers should you be looking for? Well, it's all relative. The key is to watch for increase. Okay, you want your traffic from to your website to increase overall because you've added this valuable content to it. So start by looking at website visits overall before you publish the page, then start looking at overall website visits after you publish the pillar page and the each additional piece of content, blog, whatever it is. And that should be increasing. Now, there's always the possibility that traffic is going to decrease for some other reason, right? So in addition to looking at overall website traffic, you need to be looking at traffic within your topic clusters and for individual topic clusters. You'll see your traffic increase as you publish more topic cluster content. So what are your next steps? Okay, you should by now have some notes. But if you haven't been able to brainstorm during this session, right afterwards, sit down and brainstorm head, core, and subtopics. Really crush that first topic cluster, not just in traffic, but also look for conversion via those landing pages, calls to action, the time that people are spending on the page. Look for a low bounce rate so that when people come to your website by finding that content on search, they stick around and look at other content on the page. Develop a framework for creating a pillar page and topic cluster that you can easily replicate. Once you've done your first one, it really becomes a lot easier. And then, the final tip is to be patient because this is a long-term strategy. It's not about one-off publishing of a bunch of different blogs anymore. So be patient with it. Take your time, making that first topic cluster a success, and then replicate that process. And we have a recommended resource. The nonprofit content marketing pillar page is both on our website, is an example. It's very meta. It's an example that you can use to pattern your pillar page off of. But it's also going to help you, it's got a lot of resources and advice on how to carry out this topic cluster strategy at your nonprofit. And it's right here. When you get the presentation, you'll get this presentation as a follow-up via email. You can just click on the link and get right there, or the URL is right there on this slide. So I said at the beginning, I play an instrument larger than me. Here's the answer. It's string-based. Sometimes I forget to answer that question, so I put a picture here to remind me. I want to make sure to have lots of time for questions and comments. So let's dive in. And I'd like to hear your questions via the Q&A panel. So go ahead and enter your questions there, and I would be happy to answer them. As I said before, you'll get a copy of this presentation to kind of be refresh your memory after the fact. And you can also email me or call me at the numbers listed, at the number listed here. The link that you see for YodlePop Quick Wins we would be happy, the Autopop team would be happy to help you devise a quick win strategy for getting your first topic cluster off the ground if you want to just click on that link and set up a time to talk. So let's go into questions, and I think Corey's going to help share the first question for us to answer here.
Hi, yes. The first question here is regarding pillar pages. How do we balance the need for optimized search, but make the pillar page manageable for readers who don't have a lot of time for long form pages or want to work through page navigation with lots of options?
Excellent. Yeah, and that's something that I think it's really smart to be aware of. Your users, might be looking for quick answers, and they also might have a variety of different experience levels with the technology. So that's one way that the download is, one reason that the download is really useful and handy. So if your nonprofit is one that serves a lot of, if that's a concern for you, that people might not stick around to really take in the pillar page, you can put that form for downloading the page contents near the top of the page, so that you can make sure not to lose them. The other thing that you're going to need to do is, people will be arriving at your pillar page for a variety of reasons, right? Ideally, they're going to come because they want to, because their search really, truly relates to what's there on the page. If they have a smaller question, you want to make sure that your blogs are answering those smaller questions so that you're increasing the chances of them via search getting to that blog instead of getting to the pillar page. So the way that, and maybe I'll back up and find one of the visuals for the topic clusters here. The way that people are finding your content when they have a specific question is going to be through one of those subtopics. So let's say, my question is, what are some of the ways that, what are some activities that I can do with my older relative that has dementia? What are some meaningful and productive activities that we can plan? And that's my question. Give me a blog that I'm going to find via search on activities for dementia. Give me that, so that search is going to guide me there instead of here. Then while I'm reading that, that's what the inbound links are for. So the inbound links are going to be contextualized. I might be reading a blog about activities for people with dementia, and right there in the blog, it's going to have a link to the caregiver guide. Okay. It might say, having meaningful and productive activities for your relative with dementia is an important way of keeping yourself, keeping your own sanity as a caregiver and your own well-being as a caregiver. That link would go here to the guide. So I'm only going to get there if I want to be there. Hopefully that helps answer that question. Do we have more questions, Corey?
We do. So here's one that says, what is our goal? Like, why are we doing content marketing, and how do I sell this investment/concept to my higher ups?
Excellent. That is a really good reason to have a content mission. Okay. If you can get whoever you need to sell this idea to, whoever at your nonprofit, you're going to need to get resources. You're going to need to get other staff involved in creating content, obviously. You're going to need a variety of resources, software, to be able to sell that to the decision makers at your organization. It's kind of like, you don't want to have to visit your new neighbor for the first time to ask them to be quieter. Okay. You want to go to them earlier in the process with some cookies when they first move in. So if you have, I think we're all, people who work in nonprofits are used to the idea of getting buy-in and getting buy-in from stakeholders. So it's best to do that upfront by involving people in the conversation. The content mission is a nice way to get that conversation started. maybe, you know, as an exercise at a staff meeting or a meeting with those decision makers, to do this as an exercise. You know, here's our mission. Why are we publishing content? What do you think? Can I get, you know, can I get your input on that? And you're going to get some good, you're going to get some useful answers, answers that will enable you to come back later and say, you know, that thing we said we needed to do with our content, this is what I need to be able to make that happen. I think that's one way of doing it. There are other ways of doing it, like, you know, really taking a look at the content that your organization's already published, that's already kind of made its way through or is making its way through that consensus process, that process of getting the stamp of approval from decision makers, because that content is already there. And often, and we find this on our team too, when we work with nonprofits, it's a matter of identifying it and contextualizing it for the web, for a pillar page, for a blog. We use a tool called a content questionnaire, and that in that content questionnaire, we're asking for help from the nonprofit staff to identify resources, papers that have been written, even grants, where you're, you know, providing a rationale for your work, or describing, you know, providing the rationale to invest in a solution to an issue. That kind of material is really good for recontextualizing, you know, using editing into a pillar page or blog or video, for many reasons, one of which is that it's already been through the approval process. Hopefully that answers your question. Any more questions, Corey? The number one thing you should stop doing is publishing blogs for the sake of publishing them. You do need to have a schedule for publishing blogs. Otherwise, it's not going to happen because you're really busy and your whole team's really busy. So you need to have a schedule. But, you know, if you're blogging twice a month, even once a month, make that topic worthwhile by doing keyword research, but also combining that with the questions that you've identified. Build your personas. Okay, this is another tool that's really useful in the topic cluster process. Start with your personas, build key personas. We have a tool for that on our website for nonprofits if you haven't built your personas yet. So go ahead and build those, and that's going to give you a number of questions that the people that you are trying to reach actually really have. Those are the questions you should be answering in your blogs. And we plan those blogs quarterly. So every quarter we're sitting down and looking at generating a list of questions that our clients' personas have, and writing blogs that answer those questions, and also picking keywords for those blogs. So I would say if there was one thing that you should stop doing, it's publishing for the sake of publishing, especially that thing where you, look, you want to do a blog about dementia activities, but there are 10 different search terms for that. So gosh, we better publish a blog called Activities for Dementia, Dementia Activities, activities for people with dementia. No, pick one. And then, you know, watch that blog. And one of the things that's really helpful, if you're at a nonprofit that's been blogging for a while or publishing pillar pages for a while, and you've got this big backlog of material that might be done the old way. Okay, lots and lots of blogs on a lot of related keywords with a lot of sort of duplicated content. We actually have a blog consolidation process where we look at the metrics for those blogs. Are they getting visits? If they're not getting visits, if a blog on dementia activities is getting no traffic, and a blog on activities for people with dementia is getting a lot of traffic, then we want to take that content, combine it, and do it really smartly so that we're not going to lose any traffic to the blog that's doing well. There are key steps that you need to take in that process that build traffic rather than taking away from it. So I know that's kind of a long answer, but those are all important pieces of that process. So the next question is, how do we prove that it's working when we're doing topic clusters? How do we prove that what we're doing is working? The number one thing to do is to start with a goal in mind. So the goal of topic clusters, your main goal should be traffic. So to see an increase in traffic to your website and to see an increase in traffic on a particular topic. So once if you're starting out knowing what you want to accomplish, it's really as simple as every month looking at how many visits you're getting to that page, and ideally not just how many visits to a page, how many sessions in a topic cluster. This is part of the new search mentality that you as a marketer need to get. Okay, it's not just about how many visits did a particular page get. It's this whole topic cluster. How many sessions started with that topic cluster? How many sessions to your website started because somebody saw in answer to their Google search one of your pages on a search engine results page. So you know it's working when you see traffic. It can take time. Typically at least, you want to give a new piece of content at least 6 months to build some basis for organic traffic. Now I know, there are topics that, especially now, things are changing so quickly, whether it's with related to how you approach a topic because of the pandemic or something else. Things can change very rapidly. You should be updating your content, to make sure that it's current. And that is something that we do. We typically put, in a calendar or workflow to revisit a pillar page periodically to check the content and make sure that it's current and up to date. That's another thing that Google really likes. It likes to see that updates have been made to a piece of content, to a pillar page or a blog. And so when you see traffic to that whole topic cluster building up, then you can easily say that it's working. You can also use social media to drive traffic to that content. That's a way to kind of respond to things to generate quicker traffic. You can invest in advertising on Google around that page or around that blog or a download. You can invest in advertising on social media to that topic as well. And that helps kind of account for the time that it takes for something, a piece of content to build up an organic audience. Sometimes you want to see quicker results. And so we find a combination of advertising and organic traffic is really good for getting both of those things. Okay, so how do we make the content influence influence of content on revenue measurable? So we call that a number of different things: closed loop reporting, smarketing. It's that kind of nexus between you've got content and you want that to result in revenue for your nonprofit. Whether your nonprofit is engaged in bringing in revenue through donations, through membership, services, sales of consulting, educational offerings, those kinds of things. Content marketing really should support those revenue goals. And so it's a very smart question to ask: how do we prove that happened? The answer is really you need to have some kind of marketing automation software in place. We use HubSpot most often for that, because there you've got this. It's really about having the tools that you need to show that relationship, and also using those tools, investing the time in using those tools to show the results that you're looking for. So I'm not going to get too much into how particular tools do that, because they're going to be different. It's going to be different depending on what tool you use, but you need to have some tool in place that shows, hey, contacts came in through this content. We provided a download. We provided an e-newsletter sign up right there on the page. We provided the opportunity to, fill out a form and get the content as a PDF. We provided if it's contextually appropriate, a link right there to donate or to sign up for a consultation that would lead to some consulting. We put a call to action there for an educational offering that is a paid offering or for membership. So you need to build those conversion tools right into the content without making the content marketing oriented or sales oriented directly. It's tricky. It's a tricky balance. And we focus very strongly on publishing content that's not that's not salesy and that's not marketing, doesn't look like marketing. It's really just answering questions for your personas, and they're going to be happy with the answers that you've provided. And that's how you can build the relationship with them. So you just need to have the software and tools in place and processes in place to connect the dots. Sometimes it can be very simple and straightforward. Sometimes it can be pretty complicated, and I'll be honest, take a lot of resources. We're constantly looking for integrations, for example, that help us do a good job of connecting those dots between the marketing and the revenue generation. I think we have time for one more question. So how frequently should content be refreshed on pillar pages? How much should be refreshed? Is it a certain number of words? Or, how should we make those decisions about refreshing content? It depends on how much time you have. I'll be honest. There is one case where our account manager has an appointment with the head of research at the organization every 6 months. And they look at all of the pillar page content together and make changes in real time. And then, of course, we have to go back and make those changes in the downloadable version. But it's worth it because it really does get results. I think the only reason we're doing that, we tend to do it less often when there's difficulty getting access to the person that has that information. If there's someone on your team that can make those determinations, look at each and every pillar page and know, whether it's still relevant and what the tweaks are, then it should happen more often, like once a month. It just needs to be on somebody's calendar to either make those changes themselves or, be in touch with the person who has those answers. And there's really no number of words. It's not so much about word count. It's about activity on the page, and just put yourself in the position, in the mind frame of someone who is a visitor to that page, who's look at your ideal personas, look who the page is for, and think from their perspective. Are they going to read this and miss out on something that we now know that we didn't know then? Or is something inaccurate that I'd feel bad if they thought that was true, and it would ultimately, not help our reputation. And then, look for obviously sometimes, you'll publish something new that's really related to a topic you already talked about. And gosh, you might just not even think to go back and put a link. Look for those kinds of things too. So it's really about looking for accuracy rather than, just expanding for the sake of expansion. I think that's all the time that we've got, and we're coming up on the end of the hour. I'm going to go to the end and make sure that you guys are seeing our closing slides so that you know how you can get in touch. While I do that, I want to thank you very much for joining us today. It's been great talking with you about nonprofit content marketing, and I really want to know what your thoughts are and how this presentation was helpful to you, if it was helpful to you. I've been giving this presentation, a lot and constantly updating it. So any suggestions that you might have, I'd like to hear those as well. You can contact me at the information that you see here on this slide. And I want to end by just thanking you again. Have a great day.